Let me put you on a little bit of a secret. You only need 0.001 Bitcoin. That's correct. I'll let you do the math on that for now. You got it? That is correct. It's not even $100 here at the end of 2025. So yes, you don't need one, you don't need 0.5, not even 0.1 Bitcoin. Now, before you lose your mind and say this guy is absolutely off of his digital rocker, let me explain what I actually mean. Because this is not a video about how much Bitcoin you need to retire. It's about something a little bit deeper. It's why owning literally any amount of Bitcoin at all changes everything for an individual. We've seen all the videos. Here's how much Bitcoin you need to retire. If you don't get to X amount, you'll be doomed and your bloodline will never forgive you. Whatever, dude. Honestly, even though I see the point that they are going for, I think too many casual people, it could do more harm than good. For most, that framing might actually just shut down the conversation immediately. They hear, you need X amount of dollars to do this, and their brain just checks out because it doesn't actually feel relatable or attainable. That quickly moves to, it's not for them. They're too late anyway. It's a scam. It always has been. Whatever they need to do to stay emotionally uninvolved. That's where the mistake lies. Bitcoin is truly something you won't understand from the sidelines. It's something you begin to understand when you own it, even in the tiniest amounts. Actually, especially in a tiny amount, because that's what nobody is focusing on. The moment you own even 0.001 Bitcoin, even if it's just $90 or whatever it is, your brain will ever so slightly change. You'll start paying attention. You're going to notice more price action than maybe you've noticed before. You might read some headlines and listen a little bit differently because all of a sudden it impacts you now, even if only in a small way. And you start, most importantly, asking more questions, better questions. Why? Well, you actually give a shit now. Let's say Bitcoin drops 5%. Weird. I kind of felt that a little bit, even if it was only $5. You start to think about that position. Do I add to it? Was this a mistake? Why did that happen? And let me text that crypto buddy of mine. Oh my God, it went up 10%. Wow, that was fast. Wait, should I own more? Why did that happen? Stocks weren't even moving. Is there some news that I need to know about? So why is this happening? Well, because generally speaking, markets aren't learned intellectually beforehand. They're learned from the feeling, the emotion. You can't and won't truly understand volatility until it's pulsing through you. You can't feel a drawdown until it's actually you that's experiencing it. And what about conviction? How could you have it until you watch something you owned get mocked and dismissed and attacked, yet still survive and even thrive? When you don't own any Bitcoin, it's so very easy to say things like, it's too volatile, or it's a fraud and a scam. Like, isn't that one nerdy guy in jail from it? Or it's useless. You can't even hold it. Why would anybody accept that as money? I can't buy a coffee with it. It costs you nothing to say those things. But hey, once you own even 0.001, everything changes a little bit. The volatility is a sensation in your body. The narratives aren't as abstract and out of touch. They're actually affecting something you own. Now you're not just repeating other people's opinions, you're the one actually forming them in real time. Many times, some weird stuff starts to happen. Your once closed mind gets cracked open. You stop needing Bitcoin to be perfect. You stop needing it to fit perfectly into a worldview. You might start saying, why does this thing keep performing year after year? How is it surviving? I didn't think it was like a real thing. I thought the tulip bubble from that whole history thing didn't last this long. You start to notice how many times it's quote unquote died and how many smart people you respected have been, well, wrong about it over these years. The arguments against it, they shapeshift just as much as the reasons for its success do. This is learning, this is evolving as an investor, not through some theoretical debate, not through some back and forth on X with a commenter, but through genuine exposure. This isn't just with Bitcoin, this is with human behavior. People who own certain stocks will understand them differently than people who don't. And people who have taken risk in markets, they understand them differently than those who haven't. The people who have felt volatility, they view risk differently than the ones who just, yap about it. Look, in the end, ownership will create curiosity. Curiosity will create that learning, and learning will lead to conviction. And that conviction doesn't come from some random guy telling you that you could be rich or retire if you just had X. It comes from the lived experience. So you need to start. Most people don't hate Bitcoin because they studied it deeply and then rejected it. They might just hate it because they've never owned it. They stay on the outside, parroting secondhand comments and opinions, while people on the inside are actually experiencing it. And over time, that gap has widened. The outside crowd, they grow louder and louder, especially during the highs and the lows of the Bitcoin market. Well, honestly, the inside crowd, they just get more quiet, they get more nuanced, and they deepen their belief over time. Because once you've owned this asset through a couple cycles, even just in a tiny amount, you start to realize how complex the asset really is. So no, 0.001 Bitcoin isn't going to retire you, unfortunately. That's not the point though. But what it might do is retire your bad assumptions. It might crack open that curious mind, pull you into learning instead of dismissing. And over time, this is how you can grow your position. Not because of some mythical number of sats, but because you chose to engage at all. Many meaningful investors, they started small. Not because they lacked anything, but because they built their conviction over time, brick by brick, through the fire. So look, my advice, if you're watching this and don't own any, just stop arguing about it. Stop defending your position. Don't pick sides. Just buy 0.001 Bitcoin. Not about some big thesis. It's not a bet. It's just a personal experiment. Feel it, watch it, learn. Worst case, you spend $100 and you learn something. But the best case, you open the door to understanding one of the most important assets of our generation. All right, hope you liked the video, guys. Like and subscribe, and you can join the free Discord in the link below. We'll catch you next time.